Welcome to Blah 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 Motorcycles Open Mic, first edition here, which is pretty fantastic. Looking forward to hearing just who wants to get up on stage and have a story related to a wreck-less situation. Close calls. Looking for close calls. So, coming up in October, November-ish, will be our 1-year anniversary of Storytellers. I can't believe it's already been 1 year. Pretty fantastic stuff. So let's get started with our first storyteller. Adam, you ready? Come on up, Adam.
Okay. I think I'm good.
You know everybody here!
Yeah. Hey, all friends and two guys I don't know in the back. Okay, so this is my story about the first time I ever rode a motorcycle that wasn't in a class. So I wrote things down. So it was like the summer of 2019. My wife tells me it's time to buy bikes. I wanted to buy a motorcycle for years. I used to go to the Harley Davidson dealership in Tampa and just look around. And these salesmen were trying to sell me things. I'm like, I don't have any money, and my credit's 520. So we say we're gonna buy a couple 250s. We know nothing about bikes. We're gonna buy Rebels or something. And I come across this horrible 2003 Honda Shadow. Somebody spray painted or put a skull decal down the side. It had brass knuckles on it. It had a middle finger on it. It was awesome. I figured I was like, it's cheap, it's $1,000, it's perfect for me. Just so you know, I worked in the tire industry for 10 years before this. I know how to read a unit number. I looked at the tires on this thing. They were 12 years old, and I was like, perfect, these are new. Should be able to ride it. So, show it to my wife. She tells me, that's horrible, don't buy it. So I buy it. I bought it in November thinking, they're going to want to sell this to me in November because they're not going to sell bikes at the end of November. I told my salesman this thinking I was that clever. And he was like, you want to buy this piece of shit? All right, cool, I'll give you a free t-shirt. So March comes around, I call them, they lose my bike. They don't know where it's at. So another week goes by, finally they find it. It was upstairs, apparently. I go to pick it up, and I take it to my friend's house. I've never ridden a motorcycle besides in a class before, and I decide I'm taking it to my friend's house, and we're gonna go get barbecue. Go to my friend's house, I tell him, please just don't take me on the highway. I'm scared of the highway, don't take me on the highway. And he says, okay. Goes directly to the highway. We go, as I'm riding on the highway, stops on the off-ramp right in front of me. Like, not at the light, it stops in the middle of the on-ramp. So I put the brakes on with 12-year-old tires, and I just slide. I stop with my front tire touching his trailer hitch. And my friend was like, you okay? And I'm like, no, I just feel like I'm full, like. So we get barbecue. We decide we should go to Costco for some reason. We go to Costco and we see everyone wearing like masks and we don't know what's going on. So it's March 12th of 2020. I had no clue that COVID was a thing at that moment. I take the bike home. I have fuel pouring down my legs. The fuel valve broke, and I'm glad I quit smoking years before this. I had fuel everywhere. My fork seals busted. I could push the handlebars all the way down. The front tires were completely split. There was a bubble this big at the top. I called the dealership. They said they'd come get it. I never saw it again. And that's the story of when I almost wrecked my first bike.
Is there photos?
Thanks, Adam. Nothing like getting something used and finding just how used it is. Glad you're okay? Glad nothing worse came from that? That's why these are close calls, because we're still here. Next up we have Eric. Eric's got a story. Come on up, Eric.
Hello, my name's Eric.
Hi, Eric.
I have made a. How you doing? I've made a bit of a halfway sort of reputation for myself as a Triumph fan. But in the pre-Triumph years, I actually had a 1975 Kawasaki Z900, courtesy of Jim at Redline Motorcycles, crash over there. The orange shirt knows a little bit about that. And this is a really gorgeous bike. Actually, the nicest bike I had owned by far up to that point, because it actually started when I hit the starter button. You know, so it was like a big leap for me. So I was staying in Rogers Park. I was dating this absolutely gorgeous woman that used to stay on 95th and Western. So we had a bit of a geographic divide, you know. So we were dating for a little while. So she'd come up to my house to hang out, and smoking a bunch of weed, listening to music, hanging out, you know. And got to be about 2:30 in the morning, and she's like, oh, what time is it? 2:30 in the morning. And she's like, oh, I gotta get home. I gotta get back home. My dad's gonna kill me. And I'm like, well, I mean, it's fucking, 2:30, so if you walk in the door right now, your dad's still gonna kill you. So why don't you stay over here, I'll get you breakfast tomorrow morning, and you'll be just as dead when you get home as you would be if you got home right now. No, I gotta get home. I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. So, it started raining, we jumped on the Kawasaki. My game plan was that we were gonna just, go from Morse and Sheridan, where I lived, to 2E, take 2E to the Edens, jump on the Kennedy, jump on the, Dan Ryan, and get off at 95th, and bam, she's home. But it started fucking pouring, so I'm like, all right, look, we're just gonna take Lakeshore down to 71st, and then we're gonna get off at 71st, take 71st, get down to 95th, take 95th west. Sounds like a plan. So at least I thought so. So anyway, we're heading southbound on Lakeshore Drive. It gets so bad that I could not. It was pouring so hard that I could not see 10 feet in front of the bike. And in my infinite knowledge, I had no helmet, no gloves, no jacket with my dumb ass. You know what I mean? So I'm figuring the better part of wisdom is to get the fuck off of here and get onto local so I don't die. You know. So we got off at the North Avenue stop, which if you've ever gotten off of that on Lakeshore Drive, you know that would put you onto LaSalle, which curves in a weird sort of way. And I remember pulling up, and there was a guy in front of me. I actually still remember what kind of car this guy drove. It was a Nissan 240SX, which, as you know now, is super fucking rare and is subject to the drift tax. You really find it more in decent shape. Anyway, so this dude, so we're coming up to Stockton. That's the light right there from the street that comes from the zoo. You know what I mean? So this buddy gets a yellow. And you know what happens if it's raining and you get a yellow, you go through that shit. So why the fuck would you slam your brakes on? No, it's slamming his fucking brakes. So I'm trying to steer around him, and I almost came this close to almost making it. And then I low-sided. And so, her name is Kelly, by the way. She's on the back. And Kelly Gillette, because Gillette is the best a man can get. And so we all low-sided, all two of us. She fell off and bumped her shoulder a little bit, probably bruised up a little. I was stuck under the bike, under a fucking massive 900cc air-cooled 4-cylinder. I'm like, God, get this fucking thing off of me. I'm talking like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm like, blah, 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 like this, you know what I mean? And fortunately, some motherfucker was walking his dog at 2:30 a.m. This is pre-internet, pre-cell phone. So buddy rolled up like a fucking hero and pulled the bike off of me. Now, me and Kelly's dad did not get along. He fucking hated my ass. And I mean, I was dead even before I left. Rogers Park, right? So they called it, I don't know how they got an ambulance for us because, like I said, pre-cell phone, but we got an ambulance. I don't even remember what hospital we went to, but her dad was there giving me the Robert DeNiro, like this thing, you know what I'm saying? And so I like power sanded off a bunch of these, air cooling fins on the bike, and busted up the tank. And those Z900 tanks are fucking like made of unobtainium, and that just like dropped the value of the bike from the former $2,500 that I spent to it down to about $1,200. Brought it back to Jim, who I don't know if I mentioned it, but he looks like Chuck Norris. So tried to negotiate a deal with him, which ended up giving me a 76 XS 650, which a friend of mine wrecked for me. But that is my motorcycle story.
So the question to the audience was, has he seen this woman again? Did you see Miss Gillette again?
I did not. She dumped me, and then I dumped her, and then she dumped me again. So.
Oh, a little roller coaster romance. He literally dumped her, folks. He literally dumped her. Oh, good stuff. But as we know, weather conditions can definitely lead to some very close calls. I was thinking of, I spent a whole bunch of years living in Vietnam, where there's an entire half a year where it just rains all the time, and you are just stuck either like driving through torrential rain, or my favorite close calls were always, I was just wanting to get home. I was not stopping waiting for that rain to end, because you just didn't know how long it was going to last. So I'm driving down expressways to get home from teaching, and there would be an entire overpass filled with motorbikes underneath it, all people waiting out the rain. I'm like, get the fuck out of the way, I want to get home. And inevitably, I was just swerving around people, just get out of the way. So yes, weather-related conditions can lead to a lot of close calls. If anyone is feeling inspired with their own close call story and would like to get up here tonight, the sign-up sheet is on the bar. Just don't be a dick towards anybody, and sign the release form so we can share your footage. We have another storyteller, an alum storyteller. This gentleman graced our stage all the way down in Berwyn for a weather-related story. And he is back here and willing to share another tale with us. So please welcome to the stage, Crash. Whose name has nothing to do with close calls and motorcycles.
So, I did have one story, but I'm going to split it into two because as you mentioned about the rain.
Lean into the mic a little bit.
And one year, I was riding a motorcycle to Ohio to sell. And it was a Honda Hawk, and my girlfriend was riding a Honda Hawk, and I was riding a Ducati 900 Super Sport, and the idea was that she would ride on the back coming home from Ohio. So as we're riding down this side road to get to this college, Miami in Ohio, I'm a little confused by that, but okay. So on the way there, there's 3 sets of train tracks. Good. And so we got there, we sell the bike, we have a great time. The next day we get back, we're riding, and she's on the back, and now it's pouring rain. And I'm on a Ducati 900 Super Sport, and I see the first set of train tracks, and I lean back to go, which one was the really bad one? And I went, okay. My testicles didn't come down until about 2 weeks later. So that was my first almost drive. The real story happens in 1987, 1988. I'm in Rogers Park. I'm on my brother's Honda CD750 Super Sport, and he has case cards. Anybody remember the crash cards that go around a motor? They've fallen out of favor, I don't know why, but they're a really good thing, and she'll see why. So I'm cruising north on Clark Street, minding my own business, when out of nowhere this car just comes screaming out of the Golden Nugget, whatever parking lot, and I slam on the brake. Disc brakes, 2 in the front, 1 in the back. No problem. Car goes up. So what do? I immediately continue on my path, and they come right back into my lane, and I'm like, the hell are you doing? 2 miles an hour, I fall off the bike, car stops, and I'm looking like, what the passenger comes out and says, so sorry, new driver. And I'm like, are you? And the police station is right there across Devon Avenue, and I look at the bike, it's fine. His cars were scratched up, they were scratched up anyhow. I picked the bike up and I go, get the f out of here. And they got on the car and they laughed at, that's my close story, whole story of the day.
Ooh, those are people to look out for. I do appreciate the cars that have the bumper sticker on the back that says something about new driver inside. I know to give those wide berth, so maybe they learned. Maybe they put a sticker on the car.
They need it there on the side of the car. Not on the back.
Just a full wrap. Just one full wrap. New driver inside. That's fair. So coming up next, maybe you're feeling inspired to tell your own story. Sign up is on the bar, sign release forms, we can share your footage. Crash, thank you. We have coming up a second alum from a previous Storytellers event. In fact, the same event that Crash did his story at, way down in Berwyn at the Out of Space. This one, unfortunately, will not have any delightful graphics. No, but
Sorry.
but we have a stage veteran coming up. Please welcome Megan.
Alright.
Check 1, 2.
Alright, this is a short one. No graphics. 1993. I'm on my, if you saw my other event, my Kawasaki, I had a 1981 KZ440. I was living in New York City. Awesome. So I just started riding like literally a month before at least. And I was on my way home. It was my commuter, you know, it was my ride. And the light turns, I'm at the intersection, I'm like, yeah, go, yeah. An old man walks in front of me, not in the crosswalk. So I didn't know, I slammed on the brakes. And of course they locked up. This happens. I didn't know that until that moment. And I like slid, there isn't almost this, but I did slide and fall. And like in such a way that like the bike went that, handlebars here. Don't know where the old man went, but this is two-way traffic. I'm on the yellow, and a bus comes this way. Here's me. And it just hits my bike this much. I'm literally banging on the side of the mother. It goes by, I'm like, fucking fast, fuck that. And I'm like, oh shit, I'm in traffic, right? So I like, rip the buck out and I roll it over to the side. And no shit, all that was ruined on my bike besides the handlebars, if you know the KZ, they're like butter. $80 every time you drop it, or someone runs into you. But all it did was destroy the metal holder for the headlights. That was it. I'm fine, bike's fine. That's it. So, moral of the story and what I learned from that, never stop for old people. Okay, thank you.
That's right, fuck those pedestrians. Motorcycles have motor fires. Glad you didn't take him out. Glad you're okay. This is why these are close calls. Very little's happening out there. Just whew, a little puckering and a little like woohoo. This makes this exciting. We have up next a gentleman who's been asking to be up on this stage, and I'm so delighted that he is here tonight to tell us his story. We have Mad Max. Come on up, Mad Max. You are next on the stage to tell your tale of one of many close calls that have happened out there. Please join us. You need this raised? You're a tall fella. Alright.
How we doing, everybody? Okay, you know what? I had a nice 2-hour ride coming up here today. I live out in Joliet. I was trying to figure out what I was going to talk about, because I've got so many stories I could bring up, but what would be the best one? Then things started happening around me. It's like, you know what? I have so many stories I can tell just about the ride here. Including a guy that was riding around on a Ninja 1000 right ahead of me. No baffles in his exhaust, so I was going deaf from him anyway. But he knew I was right there and started getting, not paying attention to everything that was going on the road. Traffic ahead of us stopped. And he did the panic, hit the front brakes, and the bike went sideways. Somehow or another, he pulled the thing back out again. But that's not the story. The one I wanted to bring up, probably about 10 years ago, I was riding on my way to work, straight up 355. I was coming up, I just passed up the Maple Street exit, and anybody that's ever ridden 355 North knows that right there where Maple Avenue and the 88 turnoff is hell any day of the week, and worse in commuter traffic. And I had a tractor trailer to my left with a tanker, and I had a guy in a custom van, lots of glass on the side, in the right lane. And I was like, okay, we're doing good. The guy in the van decided, no, he didn't want to go off on the exit. He wanted to be in, go straight up the street, which meant that he decided to go left. Well, there's a tractor trailer, me, car. That was going to put me underneath a tanker truck. I wasn't having anything of it. At the time, I used to wear 10-pound fucking engineer boots. Right leg went up, went right through the window on the side of the truck, on the side of the van. Like, well, guess he knows that I'm here. We ended up going past the exit and stopping. He started yelling at me about it. I was like, dude, you realize you almost killed me here? And he didn't want anything of it. He called up the cops. Cops showed up about 10 minutes later. I mean, I could have probably kept on going, but I know it would have been a mistake. Cop asked me what happened. I told him what happened. And we went up to the van, started talking to that guy there, started writing him a ticket. You're not going to go giving him a ticket? He was livid. Because, I mean, I probably smashed the $600 window, and he's going to get a ticket on top of that. And I walked up there to see what the hell was going on, and state far enough back where the cop didn't have to get crazy about things. But yeah, he was insistent that I get a ticket. The cop was like, "You violated his rights. You violated his zone. You have no say." I went to court, and he was still trying to take me out. It's like, some people are really stupid, and that guy definitely proved it. But yeah, that's my story for tonight. Thank you.
Happy birthday.
That's definitely one way to let somebody know that you're there. I guess I need to up my footwear. Maybe some flashing lights. I did just see a motorcycle at Fuel Cleveland a couple weekends ago when I was there, and it was I don't remember the make of the bike, but it was a huge cruiser bike with a sidecar, and the entire thing was wrapped in small lights. I really wish I could have seen this thing turned on, because I'm pretty sure you could have seen it from another state away. The thing was so bright. So maybe that's what we need to do to be seen on the highways. I'm not sure. Thank you so much for the story, Max. I'm really happy to have had you up here. Glad you're all right. Glad the guy got a ticket. He definitely deserved it. That is all for the signed up storytellers. So if this is sparking any sort of like, oh yeah, there's this time that I had the such and such, and then this happened, sign up sheet is right up here, or just raise your hand and be like, I need to tell my story. Just let me know. We'll get you up on stage to tell your close call tale. We're here until 10, so we've got some time. Enjoy your beer. Make sure you're tipping the servers, please, the bartenders. Getting some food from the barbecue spot outside if they're not already sold out, and get stared down by your sibling in the front row. At least he wears the clothing I buy for him, so that's good. Anyway, if you want to get on up here, just let me know. So shoot us up here. If you want to get back up here, like, oh, I got this other tale I want to tell, please do. I'm trying to think of, I didn't have too many close calls riding here in the States. I feel like I kind of keep myself on lockdown in terms of safety, but definitely riding in Southeast Asia, there's a good number of tales. And I think some of my, the closest ones are, yes, people just suddenly stopping in front of you. It's very common for people to realize that their cell phone is going off, or maybe they need to make a phone call, or they need to text somebody. And instead of just pulling off to the side of the road, getting out of the way, handling their business over there, they literally will just stop in the middle of a busy road and just start doing whatever they need to do on their phone, with their child. They do not pull out of the way. And you are just hitting the brakes and swerving right around them, just because there's just no thought to get out of the way, which I'm seeing more often here in the States. Chicago traffic has been delightful lately, gotta say, right? Chicago's awesome to ride in. Nope. Is anyone feeling inspired to jump up on the stage right now before I jump off?
I got one.
All right, and remind me of your name, sir?
My name's Tim.
Tim, come on up here. I'll have you sign a release form afterwards. Come on up here, Tim.
What's up? I'm Tim. I'm going to tell you about my first motorcycle when I was like 17, maybe. It was a Yamaha Maxim 400. The guy who sold it to me was a coke dealer. He tried selling me for $1,000. I did not have $1,000. I was in high school. But he happened to be all fucked up and crashed it on some gravel. And after he crashed it, he punched the top of the motorcycle tank and put a big fucking dent in it and sold it to me for $200. So this is my first bike. I rode the shit out of it forever, and I was coming home one day. I was like right by my house, and I was behind a flatbed truck with like crushed demo cars, I guess, were on it. And it was too tall. I didn't notice at the time, but it was like knocking down trees and shit on the way. And where the power lines go down the street and then they cross over, this guy clipped the power lines. And he didn't break them, but he just knocked them loose. So they like swooped down in front of me and caught the fender, and it was a plastic fender, so it just like ripped off and hit me in the head. And then they caught my handlebars, and like mid-wheelie, the wire broke. And it whipped me in the arm. I didn't really realize that until later. I had like a little on my arm. And I woke up in the grapes. I grew up near Buffalo, which is just fucking grapes everywhere. So I woke up in the grapes, and I was apparently, I wasn't really hurt. I mean, I was a little, didn't electrocuss, apparently. I don't know what really happened there. And there was trees fucking everywhere. There was tree branches everywhere. And there was a soccer mom in a minivan. I don't really know what she said. I'm pretty sure I screamed at her. And she called the police. But I was right by my house, and I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I was 17, so I just took the fuck off and rode to my driveway and just parked in my driveway and stood there. And my dad came home and started yelling at me because he assumed that I did something stupid. So, yeah, long story short, my buddy Biker Bob, who owned a bike shop, like gave me an estimate. It was all this dude's fault. And actually that guy who got out, he was wearing a white beater that I assume used to be white, but it was like yellow. He gave me $50, which was like supposed to keep me quiet or something. Or whatever. Biker Bob gave me a great estimate. I didn't fix any of the bike. I trimmed the fender where it was broken and just rode the bike like broken. So that was enough of it, like whatever. I got some money for it. And then sometime later, right before college, I think, I was supposed to go with my band on a tour. And I went to go get fucked up with my friends before I left, and they were all like, hey, dipshit, you should do a wheelie as you're leaving. It was a one-way street. I was like, it was a dead end, one-way street. Or no, just a dead end. I thought I was good to go. Bad idea. So I I tried to do a wheelie. I had done one before, it didn't go so well. It was in the grass, so it didn't really count. This one was for real. Also didn't go so well. And I pretty much just like did a wheelie, and then the fucking bike, I just hopped off the back and watched my bike go down the street on one wheel. And it just crashed. And that was pretty much it. I went home. I told my dad that I parked on a hill, and when I came out, it was at the bottom of the hill. He didn't believe me, but I just needed to get out of town because I was going on tour with my band. And about 6 months later, I sold that motorcycle for $200. That was my first motorcycle.
Oh man, first bikes, they all have the best stories, don't they? That's where we kind of like figure everything out. I can't, the number of close calls on first bikes, I think probably outnumber probably any subsequent bike that comes after. Because you're just figuring it out. You're like, let's push the limits on everything. And sometimes it's our fault, and sometimes it's not. Thank you so much. Anyone else feeling like they've got a story that is just too good to, all right, come on back up.
All right, this one's gonna involve a little bit of audience participation. So those of you antisocial folks that are in the choppers, I want to see a show of hands. Does anybody remember Indian Larry? How many people remember? Oh, there's 3 people. No, there's 4 people that remember Indian Larry. Okay, Indian Larry's partner back in the day before he got famous via Iron Horse and all the other publications, was a guy who I swear to God, his government name was Stag Von Heinz. That's his actual real fucking name, man. This is, had the most rock and roll name ever, right? So, aside from maybe Lenny Kilmister. Anyway, so I could not afford Indian Larry for my Triumph Chopper, but I could afford Stag Von Heinz. So I made contact with Buddy and made some plans to like deliver a frame and an engine that I had gotten from, I don't know how many people are old enough to remember this guy, but Angry Andre from Goose Island on Division Street. Anybody remember? Probably not. I'm 50 years old. I'm old as shit. I remember this shit. Anyway. So I got a frame. I got a 71 TR6 engine, and then I got a Bonneville head for it, etc. So this was Giuliani era, pre-9/11 New York, where anything goes, pre-Disneyfication of the city. So Steg had a shop in Queens, but he was staying on the Lower East Side, right near Veselka. I don't know if you know Lower Manhattan too well, but he stayed like about a block away from Veselka. Anyway, so I go over there with my girlfriend at the time, her name's Cynthia. We jumped on a plane. I think it was like about $3,500 in cash to throw down, you know, as a deposit on his shit. So we go over to his place. He's got various fucking shovel heads and pan heads, you know, in his living room. This being pre-gentrification Manhattan, he has rolled his bike, his fucking shovel chop, like over the first stair, like under the fucking staircase, and that's where he parked that shit. And so I go over there, so I give him the deposit, he writes me up a work order, you know, received on this day $3,500 in cash from Eric R. Struck, blah, 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 signs, type lines, blah, blah, blah. So we sign the paperwork, and he brings out a bottle of tequila, a couple of shot glasses, pours out the shots, and then starts cutting up lines of coke. Like, apparently this is how they do things in the Lower East Side, okay? Sure, whatever. So, you know, we transacted. Then, you know, so he was like, so I cannot remember the name. The club that had the mural of Joe Strummer that was right below Tompkins Square Park, he knew the DJ from there. So he was trying to, he's like, oh, so my friend's DJing tonight, you should roll through, you know, I get you set up with the drinks, and is also trying to set up a threesome between the fucking DJ, me, and my girlfriend. I don't know, you know, but anyway, so fast forward a couple of months from then, he's constantly hitting me up for cash. What the fuck you need the money for, bro? You got the engine, you got the frame, you got the front end, you got the wheels. What do you need money for? Build the bike already. You know what I mean? But he's constantly hitting me up for money. So what the fuck is up with this guy? I'm starting thinking this dude's a fucking dope fiend. Maybe all the money's going into his arm. I don't know. You know what I mean? So, a long time later, I ended up talking with Hugh Mackey, who is the guy who runs 6th Street Specials on you guessed it, 6th Street, between Avenue C and D and in the East Village. And I was like, bro, what the fuck was the deal with Steg Von Heinz? So I found out why he was asking me for the money. So he started a shop with Indian Larry called Psycho Cycles, which was named after his old band Psycho 69. So to raise the capital for this, he got in touch with this one dude who was in the mob. We'll call him Tony, okay? So Tony was super into Harley choppers, right? So simultaneously with being a made man in the mob, he was gonna prospect for the Big Red Machine over there on the Lower East Side, because you know everybody knows that Hells Angels got their clubhouse on the Lower East Side, right? So like if you are in the mob and you're in 81 too, you're kind of untouchable. You know what I mean? So Steg approached him and got a loan for $70,000 to start up this shop. I don't know what the fuck you need $70,000 for. You just need the property, you know, fuck the inventory, you know what I mean? So we got 70 grand from this guy. So this dude was prospecting for Hell's Angels, and he got a little overzealous in collecting, you know, debts for the club, and, you know, kind of ended up sort of maybe a little bit killing this one dude for the money, you know, which means you're automatically patched in, you're in there. You kill for the club, right? So Stag's looking at this case and he's like, dude, motherfucker's going to the joint forever. You know what I mean? He's like, you will be, your whole address in perpetuity is Rikers Island. You never get out of there. You know what I mean? So Stag is like, it's 70K in free money. Not bad for a day's work, right? As it turns out, Tony, through his connections, got an excellent lawyer. They got that shit busted down to manslaughter. Tony got out in about 5 years and called Stag as he had my bike talking about, hey, listen, I know you weren't expecting to hear from me. But shit, here I am. And he's like, listen, where's the 70 grand? And Stag was like, oh shit. You know what I mean? So Stag started hitting me up for the money. You know what I mean? And you know, I don't got 2 fucking dimes to rub together. I'm fucking bicycle messenger right there, you know? I'm like, the fuck? Well, yeah, let me pull the extra fucking 70 grand out of my ass. You know what I mean? So he's constantly hitting me up for the money. So Tony's like, he's like, listen, I completely understand the fact that you were not expecting to see me. And you probably don't have the money. I get it. It's not a problem. So instead of getting the money right now, I'm gonna see you next Friday with the rest of the cash. You know what I mean? So Stag's like, oh shit, he's like pouring sweat and stuff, you know. And he's like, all right. So a week goes by, and I like a dumbass, I had given him some money, so he gives him enough to like not get killed. So Tony is like, he's like, well, you know, that's a good start. That's a good start. It's not a problem. But listen, I'm gonna need the rest by next Friday. So, but if you don't have the money, it's not a problem. Because I know that your wife gets off of work at 5 p.m. She jumps on the 5 train, takes that shit down to Union Square, and gets off and she walks east. So I know about that. And I know that your stepson goes to PS 195 and gets in that building at exactly 7:31 a.m. So if you don't have the money, I'm not gonna do nothing with you. I'm gonna just get your girl and your stepson. So with that, he packs up a van, and I don't know why the fuck you're gonna go to California to get away from Los Angeles, but he went to California with all my shit. So fortunately, I had a friend who had a friend whose mom was a lawyer in LA. So she sent him a vaguely threatening sort of letter talking about, my client, Eric Richard Struck, has secured my services to secure the return of his property, henceforth referred to as 1971 Triumph Tier 6 chopper. Please don't hesitate to call my office if you have any questions. You know what I mean? And 1 week later, man, that UPS truck fucking pulled up, and turns out all the welds on the frame were bad. So, but my chopper still lives, and nobody's heard from Stag on the Heights for a while. So, welcome.
Yeah, I prefer no close calls with the mob. That's okay. Sure, goodness. Jeez, oh, Pete. Yeah, close calls, folks. You never know what's going to happen in life. Man, it's an interesting place to be. Anybody else? Actually, let me. We got a few more folks in here. So thank you for coming out to Pints and Pistons this fantastic, beautiful Wednesday evening. And being here to also help support blah 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 motorcycle storytellers open mic edition. So woohoo! Just stay tuned. We will have another curated storytellers event coming up here in the fall sometime. It'll be our 1-year anniversary show, so really looking forward to putting this one together and having folks come out for it. Can't believe it's been a year, and this is our 5th event in Chicago. Saturday's the first event in Cincinnati. The end of the month is the third event in Louisville. So really have a lot of nice traction here, and coming out soon will be a podcast from Louisville Vintage Motorworks podcast. Did a collaboration with them at Fuel Cleveland and got a few folks to do interviews. So that footage is being edited right now. It should be released hopefully this week. So that'll be really fun to listen to. Made some really nice connections at Fuel Cleveland. Some really great folks came out for the show there and talked to some really interesting motorcycle folks. So, anyone else feeling inspired to tell a close call? I know we've got the, you wanna grab him? This is a close call. We're being gracious tonight. This is a close call, bicycle related. Well, we'll be gracious this evening. Allow non-motorized cycles. You know, I've also had folks be like, oh, I like your shirt, but I only ride a bicycle. Okay, well, just get some duct tape, cover up the motor part, and it still works. So I'm thinking in addition of the t-shirt where it's just like a blank square and you can fill it in with whatever you talk about, so blah, 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 then open passion, I don't know. Horses, cycles. But, Jason. Please welcome Jason to the stage. He's going to tell a blah, blah, blah story related to cycling.
Hey everybody, thank you. I also just want to say thank you for being here. We've really enjoyed having all of you come here. I've really enjoyed hearing your stories, and we hope to really do this many more times.
Yay!
So when I moved to Chicago back in 2002, and just came up here to see if I like it, and I really enjoyed it, got a job, and stuck it out. And while public transportation is great, Chicago is a fairly easy city to bike around. And I worked at the Home Depot over off of Narragansett and the Brickyard, and I lived over here off of Damon and Lawrence, and so I would bike to work every day back. And when I would get off work, I worked night shift, and when I would get off, I would often take Fullerton straight down to the lake. And if I felt like I had enough energy, sometimes I would ride downtown and then all the way back up to Lawrence Avenue, and then by that time I'd be ready to crash out and get some sleep. And this particular morning, I kind of deviated from my path, and I went to Fullerton to Lincoln, and I went downtown, just had a bunch of energy, and I went down to Grant Park, and I was driving around and checking it out. I never really looked at anything. And I do want to admit that this is partly my fault. I was coming across Grant Park, and there's like little place where you can go across, walk across, and like a wheelchair ramp, but there's no actual crosswalk right there. And there was a bunch of traffic, and all the traffic was stopped going towards the lake, but there was no traffic coming the other way. And I was wearing headphones, but no helmet. And I come down through two lanes of stop traffic, and I don't see anything. I don't see anything coming the other way. And I come out, and to my left, all of a sudden, there's a car about 40 miles an hour. You know when you think, like, you hear the stories about how something like that is about to happen, your life flashes through your eyes, you know, and all that? It didn't happen. I turned and I looked at that car, and only one word stuck in my mind, and it was shit. The car hit me. I closed my eyes. I remember hitting the windshield. I open my eyes and I see the sky. I close my eyes, I hit the ground, and I roll, and somehow come up on my feet. And I'm just like, what the hell just happened? And all of a sudden, this guy comes running over to me. The guy gets out of his car, this guy comes running over to me. I don't know, he was just there. The guy from Ireland, he had a really thick accent. He's like, holy shit, man, you're right. I'm like, I think so. I'm actually like patting myself down. And he's like, I can't believe that, man. It was like a movie. You just bounced off that car and you rolled and you got up.
I'm like, okay, all right. Like, I'm still trying to piece it all together, you know. And so he's like, well, come over, sit down. So we go over, grab my bike. Somehow it's not a tangle vest or anything. Bring it over, we sit down. Cops are called, fire truck, paramedics, and the cops show up first. And they were like, I got to report somebody hit on a bike. It's me. You know, they pull up. There's just some dude sitting there. Paramedics come. I had to sign a waiver. They wanted to take me to the hospital. I didn't want to leave my bike. They said, you're going to have to chain it up here. I'm like, I'm not chaining it up. Down in Grant Park, there was really no place to chain it up. And I'm like, well, I feel fine. So I signed the waiver. My bike was actually fine. Actually, was the tire with everything was a little skewed, and I just straightened it out myself. Got on my bike, rode it down to Northwestern, went to the hospital, checked myself in, told them what happened. About 3 hours later, I'm done having an x-ray and a CAT scan. Everything came out fine. They gave me a prescription, sent me on my way. To get back on my bike, I got to head back up to Lawrence and Damon. And I'm driving, and I'm riding, and I'm in the bike lane heading up Lincoln Avenue. And the whole event is just flashing through my eyes at this point. Like, I hadn't had a chance to process it until I'm back on my bike. And I wasn't listening to music, and I was, you know, after something like that, you're nervous. And, you know, cars are going by, and just kind of shaking. And I see this other cyclist up ahead of me, and there's something on the back of the helmet, and I can't make it out. And I'm getting closer and closer. And as I go around it, on the back of it, it said "Bless" in white letters, like they had painted on the back of the helmet. And I felt pretty blessed that I didn't die that day. And since that day, it definitely has always made me more cautious, whether I'm on a bike or in a car, to just look more often and check your surroundings, and because you never know what's going to happen. Thank you.
Kind of like, no matter what wheels you're on, whether they're motorized or not, there's certainly a lot of hairy moments out there, and I guess movie scenes need to come from some inspiration in life. So, you know, whether it comes in a motorized bicycle or non-motorized bicycle or motorized motorcycle, there are stories to be told. Is anybody else feeling inspired to tell a close call related? All right. All right, we're being gracious this evening. So every time she says bicycle, in your head you're gonna go motorcycle. So we'll have a little game. Come on up.
Hi, I'm Akele. I'll make this quick. I know it's the end of the night and it's a bicycle story, so not as entertaining. So I used to live in San Jose, California, and I used to bike all the time out there because traffic was horrible. So I kind of just forgo the car and just bike. So my specific route was I lived in downtown San Jose. I would bike from kind of center downtown to the equivalent of the metro, basically. And sometimes if I was running late, which happens often, I would take this little shortcut through the park where I'd have to jump over a small curb, which I'd probably done 30, 40 times, so, you know, no big deal. But this one morning, I was extremely late, and I was like within a minute of catching the train. So I kind of miscalculated, did the handlebars maybe a little bit, you know, leaned a little bit too much, and basically, instead of jumping over the curb, I hit the curb head on, and then I remember just flying straight over the handlebars, probably 2 body lengths, because I remember when I was starting to dust myself off and get up, I couldn't even reach my bike. I was like, where is the bike? How did I get here? This was also directly across the street from the Adobe headquarters, so there are security guards out there all the time, so they saw what happened. They came running over. And then there was another cyclist that was right behind me, maybe about a block or so. And I remember distinctly, she yelled out, "Are you okay?" And I kind of just let out like this, ah. And she said, sorry, I'm late. And I was like, why didn't you even ask me? Like, what the hell? So she just kept biting at the same exact case, like, sorry, good luck. But thankfully the Adobe security guards, they like came running over and they, looked me over and said, are you okay? I said, I think I'm okay. I'm gonna try to catch the next train because I have a meeting to get to. So I'm pedaling. I get to the train depot. Everyone is looking at me very weird. Like, people are like backing away from me. People are just kind of doing like that second glance look at me. So I'm like, what the hell? Like, I don't know, maybe I'm a little disheveled. I don't know. So I also realized like, I'm just sweating so much. Like, it's ridiculously. It was only maybe 70 degrees. So I was like, I shouldn't be sweating this much. Finally, the train arrives. I'm at the station. I'm like, I gotta wipe off the sweat. I go to wipe the sweat. Blood dripping down my entire arm and hand. It wasn't sweat, it was blood. And basically I had ripped my whole cheek open when I had basically slid on the pavement when I went over the bicycle handlebars. So I'm looking around like, why the hell didn't anybody say anything? And I remember the conductor said something to the effect of, we were waiting for you to say something. Like, we didn't know what the hell was going on. So at this point, the train is here. There's no hospital or anything nearby, but I know like there's a first aid kit at work. So I'm like, I might as well just go to work because, I don't know what else to do at this point. So I get like a towel or something in my knapsack, I kind of put that on. I'm just like holding this on the train. Blood is still coming out. People on the train are like not sitting next to me, obviously, because they think something's wrong with me. I asked the conductor if they had first aid, and I don't think they did, so I was like, well, I'm just gonna have to suck it up for the next 30 minutes. But moral of the story is, if you see someone that kind of looks out of sorts, like, just ask them if they're okay, because adrenaline is a hell of a drug. And then the other thing is, I think even if you're late, it's not worth the risk. Just, take your time, slow down, get the second train, or try to go a little bit earlier in case you missed your train. So that's my story.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice thing to stop and check in when you see something happening. And I think some of us have had also those road rash injuries from motorcycling. I'm surprised I don't have more scarring from my non-close call, just pure wreck. When I had a good road rash incident in Vietnam, I went home and had to clean myself up, and that was horrifying. It was awful. But yeah, these things happen. Close calls happen. How many of you, this is a little bit morbid to ask, but how many of you had a close call on the way here tonight? I know Max did. He's already told me about his fail. How many of you had a close call this week? Max, seriously, dude. Let's get you on 4 wheels. Sir, do you have a close call? Motorcycle related or bicycle related? Come on up, good sir. And your name, sir? Bryan? Come on up.
I was riding in an area of southwest Wisconsin called the Driftless. I don't know how it got that name.
Oh yeah, that's a good area.
It was. There was a group I used to ride with called Shaded Moto. They've got English bikes mostly and Japanese bikes, even moster. So for my 59th birthday, my brother, who has more money than brains, bought me a Harley Davidson. Yeah, let's hear that. So about 2 months later, after my birthday, it was about a month, I was brand new on this thing. I came off a Yamaha Virago. Narrow, topped out about 80 miles an hour. Anyway, I was riding this new bike, kind of unsure of myself. And these younger guys were just speeding around up there, and the roads warranted it. It was pretty safe. Wisconsin has real wide curves with a lot of sight lines. It was great to ride up there. Well, someone made a turn onto a road where the sign, big orange sign, clearly said "Road Out." We followed. We went about a quarter of a mile and over the top of the hill, and saw all these brake lights go on and guys turning left. There was fortunately one last road to get off on. Well, I had this new bike, and I was looking left, but it was going straight. I wound up into this road bed made of chunks of concrete, not granite, chunks of concrete. And I probably made it 10 feet, and we went over. I barked up my hands a little bit, but fortunately the thing's got crash bars front and back, and the bike was barely hurt. But it went all the way over. I mean, the windshield, it's got that back wing front end, and the windshield was touching the stones and everything. So I got myself untangled and walked around looking at how much damage there was, and I was pretty glad there wasn't. By this time, the guys missed me, and they came back and parked on that side road and walked out to where I lost the bike. And let me back up a little bit. A typical Wednesday night used to be garage night, and these guys would get together in someone's garage, and we'd see all these wrecked bikes that they've still got running, but they're all, you know what an oily rag look is. From 10 feet away, you wipe it with an oily rag, and the thing looks good. Well, that's the kind of bikes they were riding. And they're used to oil drips, road dirt, a lot of motocross wrecks and parts replacement. So all these guys with their worn out race leathers walked over and stand next to me looking at the bike. We're looking at the bottom of the bike. It's exposed to the sky and it's curiously clean. I said to them, well guys, here's proof. Harley's told me blood.
Man. We actually only have maybe time for about one more storyteller. If there's any other close call related tales out there that are just itching to get off your chest, get off the handlebars of the bike, get yourselves out there. Is anyone else feeling inspired to have a last tale for tonight before we finish up our first installment? Get back on up here. I love this. Come on up, Adam. Adam already started the show, but it seems as if he might be closing out the show as well, so you're our bookends. This is actually really quite fitting for a train engineer. He is not only the engine, but he's the caboose. Come on!
There's more people this time around, so if you ever want to hear about my cool train wreck stories, I have some of those too. But, so, as you know, me and my wife have kind of immersed ourselves in the motorcycle culture in the past 4 years. In the year since the Honda, I bought a Triumph, traded that for a Harley, had another Triumph. So that winter after the Honda story, We stored our bikes at a friend's garage because we just parked on the street. We had nowhere to put our bikes. We have 5 now. We have a garage. We're good. So we had to go get our bike. So she drove me to get my bike, took it home. I drove her to get her bike. So on the way home, I don't really know my way around Chicago. I've been here 10 years. I just kind of do this and I get to where I'm going. It's pretty easy. So we moved from Logan Square to Pilsen. I didn't know how to get back to Pilsen. I was like, I'll just call her if I get lost, is what I do normally. So I got lost, but I figured it out. So I'm running down Milwaukee. This is after my first winter, and I'm not really used to the bike I have. I traded my Harley for her Triumph Scrambler at the time, I think. And I'm on Milwaukee and Fullerton. And I decided there's a car turning left, and I'm like, I'm just gonna go around it. But there was a car turning left this way. And I just barely got around them. But I was very scared. I just pulled over and I called my wife and said, I'm just gonna wait a little while and get a coffee before I come home. I don't know what I did. Not as good as the first story, but that is my second reckless story, so good night, everybody.
I think every motorcycle purchase should come with like some sort of giant flag like watch out for left turns, because that is such a common issue with riding, is those damn left turns, either you making one or usually cars in front of you making left turns in either direction. But it's a terrifying situation. And I was watching some guys split lanes on my way here tonight. I'm in my 4-tire vehicle, but and I'm just like, oh, it terrifies me. I don't think I could ever comfortably split lanes because I'm so constantly worried someone is just gonna make a quick turn one way or the other because they're not looking for me in those spaces. So I was just watching this guy, I'm like, ooh, man, I just hope he gets where he's going because it makes me too worried to do that. I just want to do a really big thank you to everyone that came out tonight and was brave enough to get up here on the stage. This is not a comfortable place to be, so I really give mad props for all of those that were really feeling comfortable enough to get on up here, sometimes twice, so thank you so much. And really, hoping that you all make it out to our next event. Please follow the social media pages for the announcement for that. I'll be putting that together shortly. I'm in conversations right now to get the next one set, so it should be a nice event. And it'll be curated, so I'll be looking for storytellers to be signed up ahead of time to tell a tale. I don't have a theme yet picked out, but it'll all be coming shortly, so stay tuned for that. If anyone is interested and hasn't yet gotten their merch, here's my little business plug. I'm set up at the back. Come yell at me and I'll give you stuff in exchange for money. It's a really nice little business tactic here. Please make sure that you're tipping the bartenders well. They do a lot of really nice work here. They're really great people. Montrose has been so welcoming to blah, blah, blah. So please give them a round of applause. Thank you so much. And a huge thank you to Motobot and Pints and Pistons for being willing to collaborate on this event. This is a really nice way to just kind of combine these worlds, and it was just really nice to be here and just kind of relax with the good motorcycle group here in Chicago. So appreciate you all. Thank you so much for coming out tonight. See you at the next one.